Centre for L'Oreal, great $20 million investment. Also a company that's actually been really helped by the EU FTA coming into fruition as well, enabling goods to come straight out of France here to New Zealand as well. But with that, happy to take your questions. No. Because I know. It's all good. Yeah. Oh, look, Tova, I know that this is a thing of great interest to you, but I can reassure you I am going to be Prime Minister going into next year. Yep. I don't need to. We have a very good united caucus. I can tell you I'm very focused on my day job, which is making sure I actually fix the basics, build for the future. That's what I'm doing. Again, Tova, I know that's where you want to go, but I'm not going there. Thanks. Answer those questions. Next ones. Sorry. No, I disagree completely. What we're doing here is setting up savings and investment for New Zealanders down the road, so they actually have bigger nest eggs, and New Zealand has bigger pools of domestic capital to invest in infrastructure. This is what wealthier countries do. Look at Australia, look at Ireland, look at Singapore. We need to seriously lift our savings and investment rate, and what we're doing is saying, hey, listen, we've got a great future in New Zealand, but we're going to actually make sure we put some long-term thinking together around expanding savings and investment. Well, as you know, they're staggered over time. So we started this process at Budget 2025 in May, moving from 6% to 8%. This is a continuation of that. It's done gradually so that actually employers and employees have time. But really, at the end of the day, when we look at what Australians get, which is a 12% contribution, in this case, what we need to do is build the same way in New Zealand. Well, I know that they've made remarks about lifting contribution rates as well, and I think that's important. I think it's not a political issue. It'd be fantastic to have bipartisan support for it, because it's genuinely one of those things that New Zealand over several decades, when you look at our performance relative to other countries, our savings and investment record has just not been as strong. And we know it's one of those things that gives an economy a real financial spine. But most importantly, it sets individuals up for a greater future in retirement, but it also gives the country some pools of capital to invest in infrastructure. So, I hope other parties think about it and maybe come on board with it too. Look, Tova, we're a year out from an election. There's 3 years. I was elected in 2023 to get on with the job. My team is doing that. It's quite serious times for New Zealand. We need a turnaround. That's why we're working so hard the last 2 years to fix the basics. That's why you're seeing yesterday we're also keeping an eye on the future and making sure we set this country up for great success. We don't just want to watch a recovery take place, we want to shape it. And I came to politics 4 years ago to make sure we realise our potential. That's what we're going to do. I think what we need to understand is you've got a coalition government that's provided strong, stable government for New Zealand. No, but listen to my answer. Let me finish my answer. Strong and stable government as a coalition government. We have an MMP system in New Zealand. You can't expect a first-past-the-post mentality in an MMP system. And yet you're actually going to see parties express their own individual party views. But compartmentalising between the coalition government's response and party individual positions, which you'll see parties continue to explore and articulate over the course of the coming year, is quite okay, quite normal. But it's a pretty simple contrast, a stable government that we've delivered over the last 2 years, or the mess that's on the other side. And think about it: Labour to Party Māori, the Greens, 2 independents, and that's not good government. No, Tova, but I think MMP has matured in New Zealand, right? And I just encourage you, go look at the examples in Western Europe where you have 4-party coalitions, 10-party coalitions. It's quite okay to actually have parties express different views. What's important is the coalition government, as evidenced by its coalition agreements, the quarterly action plans, the targets. We are ruthlessly focused on growing the economy, law and order, health and education. That's what unites us. But it's okay that parties have different positions.
Just a year out from the election, but here we are with policy. Is this key election policy for you?
Well, it's again us saying we've been focusing on fixing the basics, as I said in my speech yesterday, but we're also focusing on building the future. country has an awesome future, but we need to deal with some big long-term issues. And one of those is certainly about our savings and investment rate. And that's why we're saying let's progressively, gradually lift up contributions to our super funds.
Should consumers be able to withdraw funds for house?
For what?
To buy a house?
Yes, I mean, we want to be able to make sure that they can use their KiwiSaver for two things. One is for retirement post the age of 65, and also securing a bigger deposit for home security. Being able to get to retirement with home ownership and also a nest egg for retirement is important.
Is that factored into your calculations then? What the savings for buy a house?
Well, again, it's quite simple. Doubling the contribution rates, irrespective of what your circumstances are and what your choices or decisions are, means you're going to be much better off in retirement regardless.
What about who managed to clear their mortgage if they have like a nest egg of a certain amount? What about using the money from that?
Again, we've made it available for two purposes. One is it's there for retirement savings primarily, 65, and for first home buyers to get a bigger deposit together.
Doesn't it cease to do this without lifting the retirement age?
Well, again, we'll have a policy on that as we go into the election. As you know, we've had a policy over the last 3 years around that. But what we're saying is national superannuation is going to continue to be a feature of our system. We're not interested in the Australian model of deep asset testing and means testing. That's important that New Zealanders understand that it's an entitlement that they will have. But equally, we know going forward, future generations of Kiwis are going to need to augment that retirement income with deeper, bigger KiwiSavers as a result. Again, I'm very focused on, we've got a year to go, and my job is, I was elected in 23, there'll be an election in 26, and that'll be New Zealanders' decisions, and my job is to make sure I get the show turned around and sorted.
What should people expect from you for your promised simplification of local government?
Well, look, I mean, the reality is we've got this RMA that's an absolute nightmare. It's been absolutely holding New Zealand back for so long. We are going to radically simplify that. We expect that up to 46% of consents will not be needed going forward. The second thing as a consequence of that is that you have to radically simplify local government. We want to make sure we've got central government being as efficient as possible, but we've got way too many layers, we've got way too much government going on and way too much red tape and bureaucracy. Sorry, wait for the truck. Yep. I'm not aware.
So you weren't aware that the minister's sister was replying to his email sent to his electorate office?
I understand she's an employee of his electorate office.
Okay. Do you really buy that 17 graphic emails about urgent skimming sent to Mark Mitchell's office couldn't have been escalated to you or to Mark Mitchell or to anyone else?
Look, again, I've said everything I want to say on that. There's a process underway, and we're going to let that run through its course.
Do you think that that's normal?
Sorry?
Do you think that that's normal, the way that this was handled and the way...
I've already spoken at length about the case. I've said it's utterly unacceptable. That's why we're putting an Inspector General in. It's the strongest mechanism that a government can have in terms of oversight. And we obviously have other pieces of work underway with the Public Service Commissioner as well.
What kind of trust do you imagine people are having at the moment in electorate office systems and how they relate to government ministers when they're in office?
Again, I'd just say all our electorate office staff do an amazing job across this country, irrespective of which party they're representing. A lot of them have taken a huge amount of abuse. If you think about, we've had Green Party MPs talking about abuse and challenges in Parliament, but then quite happily, endorsing people who've actually been causing huge willful damage and huge intimidation at electorate offices up and down this country. So, I have huge admiration for our people in our ECOs who actually do an amazing job dealing with people who've come to those offices at the end of their rope, looking for help with how they get the services they need. Sorry.
Doesn't people and big agencies and citizens advise people how to fund donations, Save the Children, they've all signed an open letter calling to binge the proposal, the perceived proposal to get homeless people out of Auckland streets. Is it on or off the table?
Well, again, I'll let Simeon talk to that if he wishes, but I can, yep.
Well, we're very focused on making sure we get housing for those people. That's why we've invested an additional 300 housing first places, and our expectation is that those providers who have been contracted work incredibly fast and are focused on providing homes for those people. That was the announcement made by Chris Bishop, I think last month or the month before. And in terms of other advice, the Minister for Justice is receiving advice on a range of areas in terms of enforcement. We want to make sure Auckland CBD is safe for people who work there, people who live there, people who come and visit, and we want to make sure that we're working closely with the council to ensure it is safe for those people to enjoy. It's 8% of our national GDP is generated out of our CBD. It is of national importance that it is a safe place for people to work, live and to visit, and so we're open to a range of things to make sure we do that.
So rules or laws on getting homes back on?
I think, as I said, Paul Goldsmith's looking at a range of potential options. He's getting advice on those things, but my focus and the focus that I am working across ministers and with Auckland Council is how do we ensure that those housing first places are filled? How do we make sure that the laws that are in place are being enforced? How do we make sure it is a clean and tidy place for people who work there, who live there, who visit? It's worth 8% of our GDP. We're really focused on making sure our CBD is a welcoming place for New Zealanders.
To the Prime Minister on that as well. Are you listening to those housing advocates? Are you hearing what they say? That they're not very
No, what I'm saying is we are doing everything we can to make sure we clean up the Auckland CBD. Yeah, we're going to have a CRL, we're going to have a cruise season coming. We've got Aucklanders who are intimidated to go into the city at the moment. We've put a lot more police out on the beat, which has been helpful, but there's more work for us to do. So we will consider move-on orders, but we obviously just can't have move-on orders and actually just move people around the city to different places. We actually have to solve that problem. But I would line up our record on housing against Labor any day of the week. You know, we had house prices go up 30% in a year. We had rents go up $180 a week. We had a quadrupling of people on the social housing wait list. There was a 37% increase in homelessness and $1 billion spent on emergency housing. And you go back through it and say we've got housing and rental affordability, which has not been what we've seen under the previous administration. We've taken 5,000 people off the social housing wait list, and we've moved 3,000 families out of emergency housing into dry homes. And we're doing everything we can with respect to homelessness. But you know, when you think about the thousands of people that have got improved housing outcomes under this government, and yes, we've opened up 300 more housing first places. We expect the non-profits we partner with to make those spaces available and to work with them to do that. And we put $10 million extra in to help with rough sleepers. So we are going to solve the problem. We're determined that we need the downtown Auckland CBD to be safer, less intimidating, and we need to. But we also will consider move-on orders. But we need to understand we just don't want to move people around the problem to different parts of the city. Okay, thanks so much, guys. See you for the show. Have a good afternoon. See you guys.